We are back with another episode of The Buzz. Follow us, Gospel Music Buzz, on all social media platforms. Be sure to check out our playlist, grab yourself some merch, but enough of all of that. We're super excited today to be speaking with chart-topping, Grammy, Dolphin Stellar nominated artist Melvin Crispell III. Make sure y'all put some respect on that. The third to the show today. Melvin, what's up, man? How are you?
What's going on, man? How are you? Thanks so much for having me today.
Of course, and I see in true fashion, may the fourth be with you, sir. You're
May
rocking
the
that
force be
Star
with
Wars.
you.
Come on,
Yes,
come
yes,
on.
sir.
You better come through with that. I was trying not to geek out earlier, but you better
Oh,
come through with
yeah.
that, man. Come on now.
Absolutely.
Listen, man. I know it's been a busy, it's been a busy year for you. You got the new singles you just dropped there. You got All Right, you got God Is, and the new album that's coming that we're gonna get into all of them. And you just came off of tour with Sicardi, I believe it was, right? The Imprint
Yes,
tour. So
yes.
how was that experience? Let's kind of start there.
Oh, man. That was an experience of a lifetime.
Mm.
Sicardi is my big brother for life. He is one of the greatest singers in the world.
Yeah.
Just to witness, his artistry, his ministry, like on a day-to-day basis, was absolutely inspiring. Just to be able to just watch him create in the moment. Like you always hear him,
Mm.
see him in videos and on TV
Uh-huh.
and all that stuff. But just to see how his mind works, from a day to day, was absolutely incredible. He really put on a great tour. So I was super honored to be a part for that for sure.
Yeah, nice. And I know, you guys didn't really make it to New York. I was hoping for that New York stop. So, I'm gonna tell you right now, when you start doing tours for your new upcoming album, make sure you add a New York stop on that, all right? Just
Absolutely, New York is
just
home for
make
me,
sure.
so I have to make my stop in New York.
Good, good. Say less, say less. So now these two new singles that's out right now. God Is All Right. Kind of give us a little bit of the inspiration behind that and what you wanted the people to take from those singles. Because I know if those singles are anything like what we're going to expect from the album, I'm already excited because, before I even let you answer, even starting with God Is, I mean, for me, listening to God Is, it gives you that nice jazzy big band feel good gospel. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna coin it. I'm gonna call it jazz spell. I'm just gonna say jazz spell because that's what I'm getting from it. I'm getting that extra twist. But no, that's amazing. I love that single. All right,
Thank
just
you.
kind of make you want to just get up and just run around and just keep declaring no matter what's happening. But I want to hear it from you. That's how I felt about it. But I want to hear
Yeah.
from you. Like, what was some of the inspiration behind these two?
Yes, well, all right. We were looking for song submissions for the album, and
Mm.
trying to really see what will fit. What is the message that we want to relay to
Yeah.
people. And so when KJ Scriven was actually the person who submitted the song, and it
Hmm.
was originally called Buckhead Church, because I believe that's
Ooh.
where the song was written. You know
Okay.
how like when you do a voice note, it'll kind of like location stamp and time stamp. So we
Yeah,
were just
yeah.
calling it Buckhead Church for the longest. But of course it turned to being All Right. That song is really a message of hope. Just to
Mm.
people to let them know that God has everything in control, whatever you're facing, whatever storm or season that you're in, that everything will be all right. We have to just trust in God. And it was a little different for me. The style of it was a little different, but I'm always
Hmm.
a person about versatility. Being able to
Yes.
have songs for that reach everybody and all audiences. So I was really grateful to do that. That song, it was cool to have that night. It was special. God is definitely wanted to take people to my Carolina roots. I'm originally from
Mm.
Brooklyn, New York, yes. But when I moved to North Carolina, and I got to experience
Hmm.
a whole new world of gospel music in North and South Carolina.
Yeah.
that arrangement of God is was by a good friend of mine, Bettina Wilson, out of South Carolina.
Nice.
And I remember one of the first times I heard her perform God is that way. It it changed like me, a part of me, like
Wow.
musically, in my mind. It just opened up so much, because the way that you can take a classic song, and put a spin on it that really intensifies or enhances the message of the song. So you
Hmm.
already have the classic God is that song was just so moving, and it
Yeah.
brings you to a place of worship and just really, like, God, I trust you because you are everything. You are my all in all. But when you put that spin on it, that jazz, upbeat
Hmm.
quartet spin on
Hmm.
it, it adds that little drop of joy to it. And, it really
Yes.
like, sends people to dancing, to singing. It makes you just want to get up and move. Like, and I really wanted people to experience the joy of the Lord through this. So I was honored to be able to recreate this arrangement by Bettina. This was really a special moment that night. And I'm really grateful. I've been hearing a lot of great responses. And I'm just honored to serve God's people and just to be able to see God's people being uplifted, and their minds and their decisions are being changed about their situations. It means the world to me.
You touch on a few things regarding the arrangement, and you definitely feel that, like the arrangement, and that's one thing I love about music. I love about gospel music is that one person can sing it one way, and someone would come in, they would put their spin on it, and they would change up the arrangement, and you're like, wait a minute, is that the same song? Like it's just
Right.
it shifts something. So that's just that that creativity and that versatility there to be able to lean in and challenge yourself wherever it may be, but also lean into it. And also, I noticed too that you recently performed at, was it Disneyland
Yes.
Yeah, okay, you
Disney
recently
Celebrate Gospel. Yeah.
yeah, yes, Disney Celebrate Gospel. So how was that?
Oh man, that experience was life changing, life changing. I since I was a kid, like a kid, I've always wanted to be an actor as well as a singer.
Hmm.
Always wanted to be on Disney Channel. Um, to perform at Disney, anything, Disneyland, Disney World, that was always like a dream of mine. So
Wow.
for that to come back full circle the way that it did, God really blew my mind with that whole thing. And being able to go and just I just remember in the moment of performing, to be in a place where, you know, it wasn't just one culture. Um,
Mm,
that yes, there weren't many people that came, to the actual event. Of course, because
hmm.
it's a park, but
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
you know, you could see people coming in to inquire about what's going on here. Like as
yeah,
we're singing like the praises of God, people were gathering, and that was such a special thing to see people of all
yeah.
cultures just gathering to wonder what are you singing
Hmm.
about? Who are you singing about? And that was so special to me. I just remember the spirit of the Lord moving in that moment. And it was like he was speaking to me like, look at where we are. We're at
Yeah.
Disneyland, at a park where people come to just enjoy their families and have fun. But you're here to sing my praises, and I
Wow.
just could not do anything but be grateful. Because I wanted it a certain way. I wanted to be able to sing Disney songs and perform with Mickey Mouse, whoever. But the fact that I was really there to do what I was called to do, was incredible. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Yeah,
Wow, that's amazing, and it's one of those things that God truly does know the desires of our hearts, right? And He
absolutely.
finds different ways of reminding us of that in those moments, in those seasons, whatever it is that we're going through. Just kind of sprinkling it in at different points, and at the right point. May not be the point where we want it, but also at the right point, just to kind of keep us fueled up and going as well too. So that's
Yeah,
awesome for sharing that. And I guess on a wider arching, like just being back out on stage, just being back out there after, taking a few years, everyone was kind of dormant, doing a lot of virtuals. but now being back on the stage, feeling the energy of the room, feeling the shift when it happens, like how is that for you right now? And what can people expect when they see you out there?
Oh man, it's amazing for me. Yeah, like you said, like we were locked down for a while, and it was tough to just really, of course, it was discouraging, but I'm grateful that through that, God protected me and allowed me to be able to move in certain areas and to work. Like I, did my first album through the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
and even that was amazing. But now being able to really connect with people, like you said, and be in those rooms and just to minister to people, it's a great feeling. And I'd say, when people would expect to hear me, they would hear, my musicality, and just my authentic self, just being
Yeah.
who I am, and just an encounter with God. I'm always going
Mm,
after the Spirit of the Lord whenever I get up to minister. So, whatever song it is, if it's upbeat, if it's a worship song, whatever it may be, my goal is God's presence. And so that's
I
what
love
people
that.
should expect when I perform. Yeah,
I love that. My goal is God's presence. That's
absolutely.
beautiful. You should have that on a t-shirt. My goal is God's presence. That I'm telling you, that's powerful. That's
I think
powerful right
I might
there.
I might have to do that one.
Listen,
I might have to
listen,
do. I'm gonna send you
it's
one for
okay.
sure.
It's okay. Make sure once I get one, I'm aware it. And you touched on just now your debut album, right? And with that debut album, you had your number one single, "Wonderful Is Your Name." Everyone was singing it, everyone was doing "Wonderful Is Your Name." It was nominated, for Grammy, Dove, Stellars, a whole lot. So since then to now, recorded your second album. You have that album there. Can't wait to hear that once that drops. But what was that journey like in between getting the first one out, lessons you've learned from that, and putting all of that into the second one, and what can people expect? And also give us the new album name and what can people expect from the new album?
Yes. Wow. There were a lot of lessons learned between the first album and the second. I really just got a better, business sense. That's just one of the aspects of it. I was a lot more hands on with the second album,
Mm,
being able to really put my stamp on it, and just for the teams and everybody who was involved to just hear my heart and to know what I wanted from my heart. So that was special to me. I learned that patience is a virtue, and that you have to have patience with a lot of things that go on, because things don't always turn out the way that you want, and
hmm
the way that they're supposed to go. But sometimes you just have to go with the flow, and you have to, just trust the process of things. This second album, is definitely more intentional than the last one. The last album was kind of it was expected but unexpected. I believe it was a good half and half. But now I
hmm
think we've come to a place where we've sat down, gathered everybody that we wanted to gather together
Yeah.
for what we needed to do. And so I'm super proud of both albums. Yes, I'm super proud of this album entitled No Failure, my first live album,
That's it. That's
which
it.
I'm
Yes.
super, super excited about for people to hear. It was super special to me. And so, it's going to be good being able to co-write with, different writers, and be able to actually have, my first song that I've written like on my own, a part of this
Mm,
album. It's special to me. And just really being able to have a song that reaches every audience. It reaches different people, across the globe. So that's what I'm really excited about. And even my family's legacy, like how I did one for Is Your Name, that was my father's song.
hmm
So I do have another one of my father's classics,
Oh,
a part of this
wow.
album, which I cannot wait for people to hear.
Wow.
And yeah.
And I cannot wait to try to guess which one of the song it is, that the one that you wrote as well too. So I'll have to DM you when I hear them all. Like, is it this one? Is it that
Yes, sir.
one? And I'm glad you mentioned your family's legacy, because I was just about to ask. You came from a family with rich musical legacy, right? You've been able to forge your own path. in the industry, yes, but what were some challenges, I guess I would say, that you have encountered just on your own as you were forging your path, knowing the background that you've came from, but also still, I don't like to use the word proving yourself, but to some extent showing that you're worthy of the calling and of the task and that was put upon you. Well, what are some of those challenges that you've ran into and kind of how you've even navigated one or two of those?
Yeah. Well, I could start by saying, there were times where I didn't think I was good enough or qualified
Mm,
to even be a part of the industry.
yeah.
Yes, being a worship leader, and being a singer, that's in my nature. So I'm going to do that regardless. But, just
Hmm.
being a part of an industry and trying to, go after being mainstream and to just reach different, greater platforms.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was qualified or good enough for that. And God really stepped in and showed me that, um, he says, like, I've placed everything in you that you need already,
Love
to
that.
be able to be successful. And so it's up to me to trust what God is doing in my life. And, I really had to, just really trust him, like, have trusting him with, people, having
Hmm.
the right people around me, which I'm so grateful to God for, that he's given me a team and just an environment that is just it's a great thing, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of reasons that my parents um, didn't really want me a part of the industry, didn't even want me to
Knowing,
do
yeah.
Sunday best, like, because they knew
Hmm.
all the how the gospel industry is.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and I'm grateful. Of course, the gospel industry is still that way in certain cases, not as bad as it used to be, or it could be even worse. But I'm just
Hmm.
grateful that God has been covering me, and He's been putting
Beautiful.
me in the path of good people, and creating divine connections for me. Even when it comes down to my church family, like, I'm so grateful for my church family, because being able to serve at home. Is one of the greatest opportunities ever, because it all starts at home. You can't
Okay.
do all of this and home is not taken care of. And so that's another, lesson, that he's taught me and he's just helped me to uphold. Um,
That's great.
but that's just some of the things that I've had to really just grow up in, and it took me really just seeking God to really overcome, for sure.
And go ahead and shout out your home church for those that may not
Yes,
know.
yes, 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 yes. I would love to shout out my home church, the Life Center of Charlotte, Bishop Brian D. Moore. I have been there. We had to fill out some forms at church a couple Sundays ago. And I think one of the questions on there were, how many years have you been a part of Life Center?
Mm.
And I calculated, I was like, good grief. I have been in my church for 16 years. It's been
Wow.
16 years that I've been a
My
part of my
gosh.
church. And it's just like,
Wow. That's a beautiful
looking back,
thing.
like, yeah, it's just like, it's really where I got my start in just being able to minister before people, because I remember
Mm.
I used to be shy to sing, and but my church, it was home for me, and so I began to open up and just begin to grow. So I'm so grateful for my church family, my pastors, Bishop Brian D. Moore, Lady Jametta Moore, and the entire First family. I love you guys so much. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Look at that. Look at that, y'all. 16 years and he still love y'all.
16
So there
years.
you go.
Yes, absolutely.
I know we're coming up on time, but before I let you, leave the people with a word of encouragement, I also want to ask, I know outside of, singing, songwriting, and so forth, you're also a producer. So what's kind of your approach as you're leaning in and tapping into that other, gift that you feel that, God has empowered upon you? What's your approach when you're producing music?
Well, I really haven't started fully producing yet. I
Okay.
produce how I can, when
Okay.
I can. But it's crazy that you said that. I am in a space now where I am, getting myself prepared and getting the tools
Mm,
necessary to really fully produce on my
nice.
own. But that even when I get to produce, with certain people, certain artists, I learned so much, like so
Hmm.
much, just seeing how they work. There's so many different genius minds out here. And so
Yeah.
being able to sit with some of them and just see how their mind works, it inspires me to say, hey, I can bring this from here and bring this from here and create something entirely new. And
Love
so
it.
I'm excited about the future for me
Nice.
and music, and I'm excited to create more. And I've really been wanting to hear from God about new songs, because there's so many songs that haven't been sung yet, and
This is true.
I'm excited, for not just myself, but for the future of gospel music. Like even going around and making new friends and new acquaintances, and just seeing the people that are coming up. And I don't think we're here. The people that are coming up, I don't think we're here to necessarily, you know, take over just yet. Because there's so many legends out here who are still doing amazing work.
Hmm.
But I believe that, when the time comes, I believe that gospel music will be in good hands.
Yes.
And I'm grateful, and I pray for a lot of my friends who are in the industry, because it's not easy. It's not an easy thing to do. It's a
Hmm.
day by day thing. And I just want everybody to keep their focus. And I have to be reminded of that too, because yes, there's money, there's the stages, there's this, but the focus is kingdom. This focus is Jesus leading people back to Christ. That's why we do this in the first place. So we have to remember that. And so yeah, that's
I
really
li-
what I'm excited about.
See, I like that. So, because I was going to ask you to leave the people the word of encouragement, and you still can. But I really like what you said just on what the focus has to be. So even if
Yes.
someone is feeling stuck, someone is venturing off, come back to that focus, because that's ultimately what's going to help to launch you forward in a purposeful way. Again, we don't want
Yeah.
to just be doing things for doing things sake, but
Absolutely. Yep.
we want to be doing things purposefully. And this message here, even for also for our viewers, y'all listen. Melvin got God is, he has all right. You can get both of those when you pre-order, pre-save the new album. No failures is, it's coming out later this year, but y'all need to go pre-order it right now, so you can get
Yes.
these two singles, start enjoying these two, because if these two is any interpretation what's to come, I'm already excited. I'm super
Thank you.
excited already. I'm hoping to run into you, if you're going to be out there, the Stellas, we're going to be out there as well too, so definitely be looking to run into you when you're out there. But
Yes.
Melvin, is there any last message, word, encouragement, anything you want to leave with the people before you go?
Yes, I want to say God bless you all. I want to say, also, to stay encouraged. Yes, we're living in a tough world. There's so many tough seasons, a lot of things that aren't looking up. But remember who's in control. God has always been in control. He has never lost his power. And just to remain confident in that he knows what he's doing in our lives. I've been through so much as a young man. I'm about to turn 26. With losing my parents, with facing depression and
Yeah.
anxiety, and dealing with just so many different emotions. Um, God always found me. And if he can find me in the lowest of lowest places that I was, he can find anyone. He can find you. And you can find him, I promise you. So just
Yeah.
trusting what God is doing, because there is no failure in God. He always finishes what he starts. We are the ink. He is the pen. So allow him to do what he does.
Mm.
And that's just be God. And so I love you all. I pray that you are entirely blessed by this new album that is to come, June 16th.
June
Well, so
16th.
I can't wait for you all to hear it, and I pray that you all are blessed in ways that you can imagine.
Love it, y'all. June 16th. Mark that. Mark that. It's sooner, much
Hey,
sooner
this
than
is
you
Melvin
think.
Crispell III, and
Before
you're
you
Yes, much sooner
shake
than you think.
around, June is here already before you shake around.
Right.
Melvin, thank you so much for being with us
Thank
today.
you. Yes, sir. Hey, this is Melvin Crispell III, and you're watching Gospel Music Buzz.